Moises Caicedo remains on Liverpool's transfer list. Liverpool are interested in signing Moises Caicedo from Brighton and Hove Albion, despite Premier League rivals Chelsea following the young star of the Ecuadorian national team relentlessly. The latest information is that Jürgen Klopp's team is allegedly the side joining Chelsea in the race for the 21-year-old midfielder who is worth £100 million. This follows a report from The Athletic that revealed that an unnamed club this week rejected a £80 million bid, surpassing the Blues' £75 million plus add-on bid. Liverpool are pushing for a move for Southampton's Romeo Lavia, but he seems reluctant to meet his side's £50 million valuation. While the Caicedo eclipses the Lavia's price tag, it stands out as an established, high-profile destroyer and Klopp can negotiate further. While more reports will likely take place to convince the unsuspecting fan base that such allegations can bear fruit, following the news that Liverpool are the mysterious club looking to race for Caicedo's signing, it is an indication that sporting director Jürgen is working diligently behind the scenes. The struggle to find common ground in the offer to sign Lavia from Southampton is not due to lack of funds, but rather the flexibility in strategy, the unwillingness to pay more than what the club sees as an appropriate fee in itself. Caicedo was one of the outstanding stars of the undisputed Premier League last term. His relentless intensity and hard-working sense of play were a key factor behind Brighton's qualifying for the Europa League, placing them in 6th place. Earning £60,000 a week, the Jewel has recorded an average match rating of 7.1 in the British top flight. He completed 89% of his passes, averaging 1.2 key passes per game. Also praised as a machine man by talent scout Jacek Kulik, he won 2.7 tackles and 1.5 interceptions. He was called strong, fast, smart and cool by Tim Vickery. The effect that Caicedo will have on the Reds team if his transfer happens will be extreme. He can instill a well-established winning mentality while charging the engine in the team's midfield. On the other hand, he can work very well with Virgil van Dijk, the new captain of the team, which showed fluctuating performances last season. The 32-year-old Dutchman has made 222 appearances since arriving from Southampton in 2019 on a £75 million deal and has won all silverware at Anfield under Klopp's management. However, he was labelled indifferent by Dave Okop last season due to his weak defence and involvement in Liverpool's problems. However, in this performance, the underperforming and exhausted midfielder's inability to protect the defence was an effective factor. Caicedo may be the icing on the cake after the summer arrivals of Alexis Mac Allister and Dominic Szoboszlai. Caicedo manages to combine the determination of his defensive energy with the sharpness of his composed passes. FBref ranked Ecuadorian among the top 6% of midfielders in Europe's top 5 leagues for pass completion last year, with a top 13% for tackles and a top 11% for tackles per game. These data certainly seem to be in Van Dijk's favour. Earning £220,000 a week, the Giant is among the top 12% of defenders for pass completion and the top 4% for passes attempted per game. For this reason, Caicedo's presence in the midfield becomes important in terms of connecting with Van Dijk. Liverpool are now closely monitoring the player's situation and are ready to take the leap if the opportunity arises. Liverpool currently have 6 irreducible players as the £37 million deal could prove invaluable. Cody Gakpo, who has been showing impressive performances since moving to Liverpool 8 months ago, was again quite effective against Bayern Munich in the preparation fight. The Dutchman quite surprised the German team. Not even 2 minutes had passed in Liverpool's final pre-season game of their 2023 Singapore tour, and Gakpo had just come out of carrying the ball outside of his own half. Then a slippery connection with Diogo Jota resulted in Yann Sommer's ineffectiveness and sent the ball into the net. After a touch to caress the ball and a touch to stabilise himself, Gakpo delivered a spectacular weak-footed shot past Sommer to give Liverpool the lead against the Bundesliga champions. It was a lightning-fast back-to-front lineup that started with the 23-year-old taking the ball in a deep midfield that had become a very familiar sight for Koptis since his transfer from PSV Eindhoven. It was the £37 million star's final glamorous debut that certainly put him in strong contention for a starting berth at Stamford Bridge next weekend. Although Jürgen Klopp's team suffered a 4-3 defeat against Bayern Munich, he will return to Merseyside on Wednesday evening. Jürgen Klopp is very pleased with the team's ability to score and knows they are in good shape ahead of the new Premier League campaign. For Gakpo, alongside his excellent early kick, Wednesday's exit underlined his status as one of the essential and arguably irreducible components of Liverpool's squad. In fact, such elite status at Anfield can only be boasted by players like Mohamed Salah, Alisson Becker, Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahima Konate and Trent Alexander-Arnold. This lineup represents a significant difference from the feeling that greeted then Sporting Director Julian Ward's arrival at Merseyside 8 months ago after using the festive period to strike a deal with his Dutch colleagues at PSV. In fact, the appearance of Gakpo posing in Liverpool red for the first time was met with quite a bit of surprise by some of the fan base, given that Klopp's side has been seeking midfield reinforcements for 2.5 years. However, his last show in Singapore will have left Bayern Munich and the other heavyweights of the European game clenched in frustration. At a time when Bundesliga champions are trying to right the wrongs of Season 1 by signing a deal for Harry Kane from Tottenham Hotspur in 9 years without Robert Lewandowski, Gakpo's excellence in both managing the line and running a derelict cannot be underestimated. Despite the apparent stalemate in talks with the North London team, Thomas Tuchel's side, which saw their offensive line weaken with the departure of Sadio Mane earlier this week, managed to score 4 goals against Alisson Becker. This shows that while Liverpool admits how much praise they have done offensively, they do not deserve the same praise on defense. The 2020 Champions League winners aren't the only ones to lament Ward's masterstroke and Liverpool's last notable act as transfer chief. Of course, such efficiency led the Reds to beat Manchester United in the race to remove Gakpo, of which, as a Dutchman, Erik ten Hag was a main fan. As a result, United's search for the focal point of their attack led them to agree a £72 million fee with Atalanta for 20-year-old Rasmus Højlund. Meanwhile, back in Singapore, Gakpo's halftime performance was completed with an equally impressive cameo on the left side of midfield in the second half, shortly before he was replaced by 18-year-old Bobby Clark. Last season I already played in midfield a couple of times. I just have to see what happens if I play in midfield, striker position, or anywhere else. There is more than one option, said Gakpo. On that basis, it's fair to say that Liverpool's arsenal is well stocked before they head into the Premier League next week. Klopp's attackers are ready and their form remains high. Jota, Diaz, Salah, Nunez and Gakpo are available now and it will be difficult for Klopp to make a choice.